All right, man. Welcome to the Gym Owners Podcast.
Buddy.
Wait a second. There we go. All right. All right. Welcome to Gym Owners Podcast. Thank you for coming on. You've been a customer of ours for 7 years now. I know you've called me maybe less than 10 times.
I know. I just was thinking, I was like, golly, I've been with you guys a long time now.
7 years. I just looked it up. 7 years,
Crazy.
almost on the dot.
Yeah.
And you know who actually says hello was Kenny from Virginia Beach Iron.
I mean, yeah, good guy. Yes.
Yep. He basically said, he's like, Steven's awesome. Tell him I said hi. So I was like, bring it up on the podcast, man.
Absolutely.
Kenny's been a customer for a while too.
Yeah. I remember talking to when they were opening up. They come down and bought a lot of equipment several years ago, and I remember talking to them about you guys. Did the people from Florida hit you up yet?
No, they didn't. No,
Okay.
they didn't. Yeah. I mean, go ahead. Sorry.
Their product is Reinvent You. I'm sure they will.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, this podcast, I really don't like to harp on Gym Insight too much because it's more, I don't know about you. I'm sure this happens to you. Like, I get tons of calls from new gym owners and I help them through the way on a lot of stuff, because me and you both know any lessons learned in this industry cost you two things. It costs you time and money. So you know what I mean? So I try to help people as much as I can from everything that I've learned back when we had our own clubs. And I know you probably do the same thing. And I have a bunch of questions for you, but Absolutely. I try to keep these podcasts like software agnostic, because most time if they're going to find this, it's people looking for information on how to run a gym. So, I mean, it's great if they want to use us, but I just want to keep this interesting to where it's not like an infomercial for Gym Insight.
Yeah.
You know?
No, I'm with you.
So, all right, awesome. So real quick, what made you get into selling gym equipment? Did you have the gym first and then you start selling, or vice versa?
So when did you get into the gym business? How many years ago?
The industry itself, I think I started when I was 21, working for 24 Hour Fitness.
Okay. So same kind of situation, late 90s, really. My cousin married a man who owned a gym. I started working at the gym. So I've been doing this over 20 years. And when I opened my gym at the end of 06, Anthony, it was all through credit card. The bank laughed at me, robbing Peter literally to pay Paul. I was a little training studio, nothing like I am today. And I realized there was no equipment places like what I'm doing now. You basically had to go and get new, and treadmills back then were $5,000, $6,000, $7,000 new. I knew I couldn't put Dick's Sporting Goods equipment in my gym. So the issue was I didn't have the money to buy new equipment. So 08 hit. If you remember, all the mom and pop gyms start closing. And I was going around buying 4 or 5 pieces of equipment just for my own gym, not to sell them. And I would sell 1 or 2 here and there, and it would always sell pretty fast. And a lot of I just kind of started making a name for myself. A lot of locals were like, hey, Steven, can you find me a recumbent bike or a treadmill? They wanted what they walked on my gym, like a Life Fitness treadmill, but they didn't want to spend several $1,000s. So I started doing that. And the girl that I was dating at the time, after a couple of years, she was like, you really love this. Why don't you do it? Well, Anthony, as you know, almost like you guys developing software, what's the next game plan? How do you start something like this? I had no warehouse, no forklift, no box trucks, no nothing. I didn't even know where to get the stuff from. So what I ended up doing was literally buying mom and pop gyms out and using my gym as a showroom almost, to where I'd always have 50 or so pieces on the floor, and I would sell them and buy more and this and that. And as you know, because when I signed up with you guys, I was doing this pretty decent, not to the level I am now, but as you meet people, and especially with social media, things just continued to get bigger. So when I created, I'll never forget this, a social media account for Facebook years back. This is probably, I would say, 7 to 8 years ago. I started posting one piece of gym equipment a day. And it was my Facebook still to this day, Super Fitness, new and used gym equipment. And Anthony, nobody called. Nobody.
Oh, man.
I was like, so back then, Craigslist was a big deal. So I was advertising within a 4-hour radius of Craigslist. Craigslist, as we know, is nothing like it used to be, but It was the thing back then. So what ended up happening was I'll never forget this as long as I live. A guy from Pennsylvania calls. I bet you this is 5 to 6 months in, posting every day. And he says, "Hey, Steven, I saw this piece you posted. Do you have it?" And I was like, "Yes, sir, I do." He says, "How much is it?" And I can't remember the price, but let's say $1,000. He said, "Okay, I'll take it. I just need you to ship it to me." Well, at the time, everybody was coming to me. They were, I was hand delivering equipment. I had no clue, Anthony, how to freight equipment across the country. And as you know, this stuff's 1,000 pounds. It's not easy. So, but this is what happened. And this is the point of the story. Light bulb went off in my head. And I said, if I can sell one piece to Pennsylvania, I can sell this shit around the world. And I knew a lot of the bodybuilders. I'd been going to the Mr. Olympia since 2007. I had competed on a pretty high level in bodybuilding, and I was very passionate about the fitness world, bodybuilding, and I just try to help people, the same that you were talking. I try to give honest advice. If you don't need to open a gym, I don't want to take your money if you're planning on failure, because I'm not that type of person. I'd rather see you keep, because as you know, the mom and pop gyms, as I refer to them, not all of them make it. It's a very, very high risk business. And so I always tell people and give them my honest opinion that this is not for everybody. And if you don't love it, if you don't breathe, sleep it, everything, do not get in it.
Amen.
Yes.
Well, it's a shame because a lot of people get sold with the franchise types gyms. Well, there's nothing wrong with a franchise, but I think they sell the dream of people, especially in their retirement years, like be your own boss. But they don't explain that this type of business, people don't just walk in the door and plop down a credit card. You have to go over their goals, what made them come through the door, give them a good tour of the gym, and then there's. It's a sale just like anything else. Sometimes I've had gym membership sales take 45 minutes before because they say, no, I have to think about it. And then I would go back over their goals and do rebuttals and pick a membership option. And it's a grind, just like any other sales business. And like you said, you have to eat, breathe, and sleep this stuff. I think most gym owners, like every alcoholic wants to own their own bar. I think every person that loves fitness and loves working out wants to own their own gym.
Absolutely. I agree.
I think that a lot of people, got started that way, but they don't know the business side of it. They know they want to have a gym, but you have to know the business side of it and how gyms make money. You can't just, start up a serious powerlifting gym and that is probably only going to reach out to 3% of the public, and so, these family style mom and pop gyms, you have to get in, know the business side of it, know the pricing of memberships, how you're going to sell the memberships. There's a ton of stuff. I mean, I know there's people out there I do consulting for gym owners, but people that call me up, I spend a good couple hours on the phone with them, just like you, where you say, are you sure you want to get involved with this? Because there's a lot, as you opened up a gym. The last few months of opening, you've spent money to where you couldn't picture of having to spend money on, so that's awesome that you're that honest and tell people how it is, because there are a lot of people that spend their retirement money and it just goes up in smoke after 9 months of bleeding,
I think, Anthony, that this is with anything. This is not gym, or this is just, I'm talking business in general. If you are honest with people and passionate about passionate about making things work, then people will find you and come to you because word of mouth gets around that you've done a damn good job, that you are that type of person. I feel like after if you give people a bad apple in their mouth, if you give people a few wrong people, rub people the wrong way, people can see through you very fast. So if you do customer service, for instance, I always try to do that just like you at a high level. You can call me and don't even have to buy from me. I'm still going to give you my honest opinion. And I always tell people, they're like, well, Stephen, what makes you different or what makes your company different? First of all, I'm not trying to be the biggest out there. I run a crew. We're a small crew, but we do large numbers, but I don't have 50 employees. But one thing I do, I try to treat everybody the same. I try to provide, whether you're buying one piece or a whole gym, because that one piece, that person may then open a gym 5 years later and remember that I took care of them on that one piece. And so I always think like that because I was that little gym owner opening up a little private studio, and I did not know who to call. If I could have called somebody like me to give honest opinion, Anthony would have saved me a fortune. You wouldn't believe how many people that I've set up for that they don't even have a clue how to do 24-hour access, or they're scared to death of not the equipment side of things, the running of the gym part. They don't know how to do it. And honestly, if you Google it, a million things come up. Sure. Softwares, locksmith will pop up. It's like, who do you call and who do you call in your area? So if somebody can get on the phone with the guy like me or you and kind of give them the rundown, it's going to do two things. It's going to make them want to open a gym, or as well as I do, it might scare them to death. Sure.
Absolutely. No, absolutely. I mean, that's part of the reason why I do these things. Like I started a couple of years ago because I was like, there was a ton of people doing consulting. I had a customer saying, hey, this so-and-so corporation wants to do consulting and go over this, and that, and they're going to charge. Some of them were like thousands of dollars. And I was like, tell you what, I'll do it for free with you. I'll block out the time, but I want to record it because there's other people in your position. And sure. That's how kind of this whole podcast thing got born. But yeah. I mean, a lot of people were excited to have you on this one because I asked a lot of people, throw me some questions that you want to ask, because sure. As you know, after COVID, there's a ton of difference that's going on in the industry right now, especially in your line of work. So one question that was most common was, are the supply chain problems impacting the gym equipment market? And if so, how is it?
Okay. So let me start this question by saying this. So one thing that I think has been affected is after COVID, and this is good and bad. After COVID, a lot of people wanted to start shopping local and start supporting mom and pop gyms. I'm so thankful to say that on camera because I'm the mom and pop guy. I love to help them and help them compete at a high level with the big boys. Here's the issue for that. So as the mom and pop gyms got busier, because let's say a chain has 250 people, a Planet Fitness, for instance, at 5:30 in the afternoon, let's say they average 250 people at their gym at one time. Some people would rather go to Anthony's gym that's only got 40 people, and they'd rather pay a little bit more money. Well, mom and pop gyms started getting very busy. And now Anthony needs a new leg extension, a new pec deck, let's say you need 8 more pieces, and you got the money. Supply chain started drying up because the mom and pop gyms got so busy, they started buying equipment. And as you know, during COVID, so many people started building home gyms that dried up the market. So what's happened to the supply chain, and I'll go back to that now. Container cost, a lot of our stuff not my stuff, but a lot of just gym equipment in general, parts come from overseas.
Okay.
So containers used to be, let's say, Anthony, $4,500 to $10,000 at the most. They're $30,000 to $40,000 right now per container.
Whoa.
There's a shortage of steel. There's a shortage of rubber. As we know, plates, dumbbells, all your equipment is made out of one of those two things. Your rubber flooring for the floor that the equipment sits on. So prices continue to go up. Most equipment manufacturers, they have done price increases or they're doing a surcharge. So there might be an 8 to 10% surcharge now on equipment. On top of fuel costs going up, which now the shipping to get it to your gym is double what it was a year ago. So guess what that's done? That has now made the used market of equipment of what I specialize in is drove price up because now there's a shortage of supply of even used. So most equipment manufacturers are on a 4 to 8 month back order right now. And Anthony, some could be longer. So let's say you're opening up January 1, 2020 or 2022. You can't order new. Even if you got the money, you can't order new because you won't have no equipment. So you're forced to go to somebody like me, and I stock 4,000 pieces in stock, which sounds like a ton. The problem is certain items are starting to get very difficult to get. Plate load equipment, leg presses, cable crossovers, dumbbells, plates. So a lot of new equipment manufacturers, they're like, oh, we're not buying any more dumbbells till container costs come back down. Well, that means there's going to be a shortage. And as we're seeing, gas prices continue to go up. You go to your local curb market and they're out of X, Y, and Z for no reason at all. And I think this is honestly not just a gym equipment thing. This is a world thing. I think we're going to continue to get worse before it gets better. I'm honestly anticipating things not getting better in the gym equipment world till 2023 or at the earliest, like after summer of 2022, because there's such a demand right now. Why would it slow down if we know that containers, you can Google this, are sitting over, they can't even get offloaded. I've literally been waiting months and months and months on stuff that I purchased. Some of it I'm just getting that I purchased last year. That's crazy. So
that's nuts.
It's nuts, Anthony. I don't know. And by the way, I'm literally talking of how I feel. I can't, I'm not a mind reader. I can't tell you what's going to happen in the world.
Sure.
I truly hope things get better. But also, this is a big issue. So before COVID, pre-COVID, before all the home gyms, COVID taught a lot of people that they can work out at home, that they can work from home, they can Zoom or Skype. So a lot of people now have a lot more free time at home. So what's happened though to that is when the home customer goes and spends $20,000, $30,000 on their home gym, that also dries up the market for the gym owner, which drives price up. So that's why, I mean, if they can't produce new equipment fast enough, Anthony, I think the used equipment is going to continue to get worse as far as the supply. So just my take on it.
You say you're stocked up. How many pieces of equipment would you say you have?
Over 4,000. Yes, it's a lot.
Mean, how many step mills do you have? Step mills were always like the gold standard. Like, I'm sure that's what you get all the time.
You'll get a kick out of this. I did not have any step mills for 6 months with all that equipment in here. None. I've been getting 1 to 2 used here and there. And by the way, just so everybody knows, I'm very particular about where I buy from and who I buy from. I like to be, even if my product is $300 more than the other guys, I try to ensure the customer, and that's what I'm known for, that it's going to be the best, it's going to be like new. And if it's not like new, I tell you that before you buy it. So I like to give the best product I can for the cheapest amount of money. But I do have some new step mills, but there again, I'll order 10 and I'll get 4 or 3. So even that, but as you know, those have always been hard to get, even before COVID. Yep. So, and that's the problem, Anthony. The used ones, the ones like me and you were running years ago, the blue face, you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
They're still selling those for $3,000 to $4,000 right now.
Used.
Crazy. Used. Because the gym owner or the homeowner that has to have it, I haven't even had any. They're very expensive to find these step mills, man. And the problem is when a person buys one on the used market, if they don't buy one from somebody like me, there's no telling what's wrong with it. So,
the transmission goes through. You step on it, fall straight to the ground.
Yes.
We bought one that had cat hair all inside because it was inside.
I believe it. I've seen it all. And so, it's crazy what's happened in the gym world and the equipment world right now. I never would have predicted this in a million years, a year and a half ago. I really wouldn't have.
I mean, it always comes in cycles. In the 90s, there was a big growth of from gyms. And I think now we're seeing another huge growth from gyms. You have not just mom and pops, you have PT studios going up like a dime a dozen. These CrossFit studios where there's hardly even any equipment. Maybe you have an assault bike and some battle ropes and some other stuff. Those seem to be going up. Back when we had clubs, I think when we first started off, there was like one gym in like a 5-mile radius. And then within a couple of years, there were 7. So it's just been explosive, the fitness industry, which I kind of want to move on to like more positive lifting questions. Like we went over through the doom and dread of COVID and how you're sorry owners, you're not getting a step mill. But so let's pretend I'm a new gym owner, or maybe I'm an old gym owner that hasn't built a new gym in a while. Let's say 5,000 square feet seemed like the new type of mom and pop where it's a boutique style. What would you say, or what would you recommend for cost wise for like a 5,000 square foot club? Like what's the rule of thumb for equipment cost per 1,000 square feet or something like that?
That's a good way to look at it. But the way I personally do it, first of all, I would ask you, what is your clientele and demographics going to be? Because the reason I ask that question is you think about something. If you're going to cater to an older clientele, you don't necessarily need all the new plate load equipment. Now, we also would depend on if you're a lifter's gym, you don't need a ton of cardio. If you're the model that you're going to do a cheap rate, you need a lot of cardio. So gonna depends on, hey, Anthony, are you charging $10 a month or are you charging 50? Because sometimes my gyms can spend less money, but got a higher monthly rate of membership because they're being a little more exclusive. And I mean, as you know, if even used treadmills, or let's say a used treadmill is $2,000 to $3,000, if Anthony thinks he needs 8 versus 3, that's a major money difference. So I always tell people I'm going to judge that off of your clientele. But to answer the question approximately, I would say on a mixture, doing majority used with some new. Now, the reason I say some new, it's very hard to find everything you need in used at this point with COVID to be where it is. But I would say to make it nice. Now, I'm not saying we couldn't do this cheaper, but to make it nice, 100,000 can make you a very nice gym in that amount of square footage.
Wow.
And new, like Anytime Fitness, they'll spend on that same square footage or less. I've seen anywhere from 240,000 to over 300,000 on new quotes. Mm-hmm. So to give you a rule of thumb, that's a third of what you would spend on brand new equipment.
Sure.
So
new gym owners, they don't know, like sometimes they're almost like these gyms, like I'm not going to name any name brands, but when they get them, it's almost like stealing candy from a baby because they don't know. And I've seen some of those other franchise type gyms go way above 300,000.
Oh, I just had a quote to give you an idea. The guy sent it to me. He was around 20,000 square foot. So I'm going to put this in perspective for you. This was just his cardio, plate load, and selectorized. It also did have on there his rubber and turf. So it was the flooring too. 972,000. Yes, sir. Now hear me out on something. Here's the kicker. Do you know what the freight and install cost was of that? Now this was through a major manufacturer. I'm not going to mention names. I'm just letting people have a perspective. So I think the way they base this is they base it off of a percentage, maybe. I don't know. The freight and install was over $100,000.
Ooh,
Yep.
Boy.
So it's one of those things where, let's say you came here and I opened you up for 200,000, 250,000. It's still a major.
That same type of equipment for that same customer would have been 200,000 with you.
Yeah, probably. Major difference. And the biggest difference is this is what the customer's got to get wrapped around in their head. Used equipment is probably going to have a scratch somewhere. But hear me out on something. Your equipment 3 months after you purchase it brand new will be scratched as well. I promise you. You've already done that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. 100%. I think a lot of people buy new because they're under the false impression, well, if it breaks, I don't have to worry. But I've been there before. If a tech comes out, even if you have new equipment, they are not leaving that job unless it's minimum of $400. They will find something that you will never be paying zero. In most cases that I've seen anyways, there's always something on there that they can tack on for a dollar amount. And then you just realized, oh, that thought of why I bought new equipment, that's no longer there. That little safety net of what I thought. And people have to realize this is just something, and you may disagree with me. I don't know, but buying used equipment is so much better because you have to put in that business plan how many months or years before I become profitable. And for example, like that guy that bought it for $1 million, he better have an aggressive business plan to become net positive, rather than if he would have just went with you and just had 200,000, you're talking about being profitable in under a year or so. Probably. Rather than.
I think, Anthony, have you ever been to a Lifetime Fitness?
Yes.
Okay. These are millions and millions of dollar gyms. The building is millions, glass frontages, beautiful, beautiful facilities. I think what happens, me personally, is the person looking walks into a Lifetime Fitness. They see what they got going on and feel that they need to buy everything brand new. And it's all got to be matchy-matchy. And I always tell the customer, if they come to me, if you want to do that and you want to be all matching colors and upholstery and everything, you probably better order it new and you're going to spend a fortune. Just bottom line. My take is put you a few new pieces in. That's totally okay. But if you can buy the majority of it on the used market like new, and I assure everybody, platinum, silver, black, white, and even a sprinkle here and there of red, it all flows great together. They're neutral colors. And so if you walk into a gym and there's a black machine right beside a silver machine, and it's both got black upholstery, they look great beside each other. So if that can save you half the money, then it's a no-brainer. But just remember, certain people cannot get it out of their head that that place is black, I can't buy it. I'm like, it doesn't even make sense to me. Or they don't realize, Anthony, your leg extension pad is going to need new padding on it every few months anyway. It's going to tear from the pressure.
Sure.
So let's say the leg extension you were purchasing is a third of the cost of buying the new one, but it's got green upholstery. Well, in 3, 4, 6 months, when that green upholstery wears out, you can repad it for $200. Like,
I was just going to say that, where even if you're a new club that is going to grand opening and you get new equipment, if you're that worried about it, like that customer that spent $1 million, 200,000 with you, and just reupholster it from the get go, and you're still saving. I remember, so reupholstering, like you said, the dip bar, the arm curl, the leg, it always cracks, and you could do one of two things. You could have an extra sheath made over it to go on the outside. So when it does crack, you take that sheath off, put a new one. Or what we did one time is there was this this vinyl called heavy bag material that was awesome. And once we put that on there, it never, from the trainers pulling the benches, doing the step up, step downs, that would always crack the heads, never had a problem with that stuff. It was called heavy bag material. We applied it to every piece of equipment, and you know what? When all the equipment is upholstered the same, it looks like the same anyway.
Absolutely, yeah, I agree.
It looks the same.
Yeah, agree. And that's where you got to do things thinking outside the box. That's where a gym owner can save a lot of money and save themselves time and headache, because I think as people, we all overthink things. And we think we have to do things a perfect way. Your customer walking in the door, they don't know you didn't order that equipment, that color. So it's like, it's okay that it's not all perfect. And that is the biggest difference, is I think it's just people in general, and as small business owners, we are so conscientious that we need to be perfect in our gyms that sometimes we overthink the little things that truly don't matter. I even do it myself. If I'm setting up your gym, I'm more critical of the way I set it up than you are, because I'm particular and I want you to be successful. And so I want to give you the best guidance and everything. So I'm like very particular when equipment goes out of my doors. When somebody says, Stephen, what's the difference in your company and, somebody else's? If we have the same equipment and it's the same condition, maybe nothing, but here is the difference. You have me to go along with your business. What I mean by that, if you call me at 10 o'clock at night and I'm not with my kids and I answer that phone, I will walk you through it and help you with it free of charge. And as you know, because I know with the software company, that is priceless. I have people that will call me that I've become friends with for years, and they have an electrical problem, not even to do with equipment. And they're like, Stephen, my treadmill is not running. It's turning off my breaker. What's going on? I'm not a freaking electrician, but I'm like, you probably got an overloaded breaker. You need to put dedicated circuits to your treadmills.
Yeah.
It's just crazy, what we deal with. But, I love it.
Well, you hit on the right thing. I mean, I deal with, and I see this more with new gym owners, where they're so worrying about failure that they overthink everything. And not just, I could see it. Now that you mentioned, I could see it with equipment, but like, for example, in their mind, they'll make 20 different membership options. And in their mind, it's a golden idea, where they're like, oh, we're going to have this option. They're going to love it. We'll have this option. And when I see that, I sort of burst that bubble, because I'm like, look, I'm going to talk to you like Anthony, not from Gym Insight, but Anthony as your friend that has learned these lessons before. I know this makes sense to you, but the name of the game here is get somebody through the door, get them signed up, welcome them to the club. See you later. Hope they, use the gym.
Absolutely.
If you over inundate and overthink things, you're just going to cost yourself time and money. First off, a new customer that just got off the couch, maybe he's an average Joe, never worked out a day in his life, they're going to see that and be like, I'm going to have to think about, you're going to hear that I have to think about it phrase, right? So when you have too many options, I could totally see that happening with purchasing gym equipment. They're just so worried about failure that they overthink stuff, which makes them fail.
I have a saying, Anthony, and I always tell my gym owners this, and you'll get a kick out of this. I say, and I look them dead in the eyes, and I'll put my hands on their shoulders, and I'm like, simple, stupid. You want things as simple as possible. where the customer don't come up to the front and say, how do I use this piece of equipment? If it's too complicated, you don't want it in your gym. Yes. I'm still an old school guy. I like the quick start button on the treadmill. Push quick start. It turns on. Sometimes technology is awesome. Like what we're doing right now, awesome. But sometimes, as you know, from a owner standpoint, technology is not good. And so things will overcomplicate themselves. And a lot of people will say, oh, I need X, Y, and Z in my gym. Just because the other gym has it doesn't mean you need it. You know that there's a lot of equipment in a gym that may not even get used. So it's a waste of square footage. It's like, why would you even put that in there? But the gym owner saw it at their competition down the road and thinks they need it. So
I also see people that aren't doing good and they want to blame something for why they're not doing good. And sometimes they'll point the finger. I could see them. I don't have that piece of equipment. That's why we're not getting people through the door. Or even with with software, I'd say, oh, we need this feature because it's going to make money. No, getting people through the door makes money. The back to basics will always work. It worked in the 80s, 90s, early 2000s. It's going to work today. Get people in the door, find out what their interests are, get them signed up.
I couldn't agree more. I love the way you just said back to basics, because that's a motto I say too. But from the first time I talked to you on the phone years ago, I want to tell people this. The biggest thing to success, and I learned this over 20 years ago, working at the gym as a young boy. I am huge on this. So I grew up in the restaurant business. My dad still owns a little restaurant. And we had a little sign on the door as you walked out, and it said, smiling faces past this point. And customer service is everything in a little gym or mom and pop business. So there's one thing I do that this has nothing to do with gym equipment, nothing to do with software, but something we should probably say. And I think this should go with any business. When a person walks into my gym, there's somebody always at that counter. Hi, how are you? Or just a nice greeting. Now, one of two things are going to happen. You're going to stop. You've had a day long from work and you're going to talk to the person for 2 seconds. You're going to get a water or drink, whatever you're getting, and you're going to go change clothes. You might sit there for 3 minutes and shoot the shit with whoever's working. Or you're going to put your head down. You've had a shitty day at work and you're going to go straight to the locker room. That's okay. That little bit of touch sometimes, that little bit of saying like, how was your day or whatever, goes a long way. And when a person leaves the gym, we always greet them when they leave and say, have a nice day, whatever it may be. And I have been told for so many years that, like my gym, for instance, some of the people's like our family. And they think of my gym as like their second home. And so I always tell people, they're like, gosh, they learn who you are. If you came to my gym within 2 weeks, we would know Anthony. We would know what time he comes. Somebody might holler at you across the room, but people like that. I think people like good customer service and that personality. So it just makes a big deal. I think it's a very big deal.
Well, it goes to, in the gyms, it's the same story. The names and faces change, but the story is everyone's got mustache man, or the guy that likes to come in and talk to you more than he actually goes to work out, wants to tell you about his grandkids in Florida. It's the same story everywhere. And you're right, that human touch, which is sadly going away because, a lot of people want R2D2 to run the gym. And it's not just that. It's also there's labor shortages and different states. It's really hard to hire people. But you're 100% right, because once your members are like family, it just becomes so much easier to run the gym because they spread the word of mouth to get people in your door. Even if somebody walks through the door and I'm giving a tour, I would always introduce them to somebody on the floor and make that guy that talks to you all the time say, hey, Mike, this is so-and-so that just walked in. This is Mike. You're going to see him. I guarantee it. Yeah. And he'd say, oh, I've been here for so long. You're going to love it here.
I do the same exact thing. Even if I have somebody here at the warehouse where I'm at now, if one of my gym owners come and the new people are here, and this gym owner's been buying from me, let's say 10 years, I will introduce the new customer who just drove in, or earlier today, I had 2 people flying in from Texas. And if I would have had a gym owner here that I've known for years, I would have introduced them and let them talk for a second. Those people, I might walk away and those people may ask the guy that I know about, hey, how is Steven to work with? And I want him or her to give their honest opinion of me. That way, listen to somebody else. I have 1,000 referrals I can give you, but listen to somebody in person that didn't even know they were going to see you. Like, this was not planned. So a lot of times what you're saying is that makes that person feel comfortable. As you know, some are scared to death to walk into a gym. I've heard this before, and I don't know how true it is. There's 2 places people are scared to death to walk into: church and a gym. And doesn't that sound bad?
Yeah.
Both are allowed to go to church. And
it makes sense for the gym. So you got to understand, even someone like myself that used to be in shape and then now I'm just starting back. It's like even people like myself, like I want to go work out at 11 when people can't see me, in case somebody does see me and goes, wow, Anthony, what happened to you, man? Like there's people that really, and then you have people that never worked out before that are just afraid of looking dumb on equipment. And those people will walk into a gym and use every excuse in the book to make themselves feel better about not signing up. So, you have to, from point A, as soon as they walk in, you treat them like gold, even if it's on a guest pass for however long. If anything, you treat that person better because they took a sticker that you put on their car or door in the mail and they took time out of their day to check you out. You treat that person like gold. I used to see some employees go, oh, it's another guest pass.
Me too.
Dude, go home, because that person is better than the person that just so happened to walk by and check you out, So
as well as I do, what you're addressing is what's missing in the world, because most people think like that. Most people think they're at their job and they're like, oh, another person's walking in. They got that damn guest pass. Whereas me, I have been on all sides of the spectrum as far as not having any money to pay my gym, my rent, let's say, years ago. I'm just starting. And I'm thankful that person walked in my door, because I'm going to make him a member, Anthony. I mean, he is going to love me when he leaves. And even if he didn't, I promise you he's going to remember me. And I pray he sends me a customer. Maybe he is there to just look around and he don't sign up with you. But some of my best gym deals was you coming to buy a bike for $400 that you sent me your buddy that bought the whole gym from me. Like, you don't know who you're going to meet. And so I'm a firm believer. You treat everybody equally, everybody the same, and you don't know who your next big customer is going to be. And that gym is the same way, because that person, if they're treated good, they could bring 20 or 30 members. You don't know who they are. Yeah. So it's just important to be that person to treat everybody good.
Absolutely. Like you said, you don't know who you're talking to, even if that one person's buying a cheap treadmill, or his best friend might be opening up that $1 million gym and goes, hey, you got to go check out Steven. He really hooked me up on this deal. So, it's just, I really think that the industry needs to get back to the basics. I think it started normally with people coming in, making phone calls, getting any which way how to get people through the door. Now we have social media, which is even awesome, because we can put a before and after story. There's so many people that are reading transformation stories that are emotional, and now they're in the mode. So I'm going on your website, I buy a membership, or I'm going to go take a look at that gym tomorrow. I think now I see a lack in most gyms. If you're a gym owner out there and you're listening to this and your gym doesn't run this way, by all means, I'm sorry. It's not, I'm not mentioning you. it's I see a lot of gyms start up that people really don't know a lot about the gym business. They just hire whoever to be at the front desk. And there's a lot of missed opportunity. There's a lot of missed sales because they don't eat, sleep, and breathe fitness. If anything you're selling, I don't care if it's cars, if it's a gym business, you have to believe in what you're selling. Otherwise, it's going to come across during that possible transaction with the person, and they're going to call BS, or they're going to go to the person that is passionate about what they're selling. You know, if you're just a regular salesperson, guess what? You maybe have a 50% closing ratio. If you're passionate and you're not selling, you're just basically being passionate and expressing your passion for what it is that you do here.
Sure.
You're gonna get the person all day long.
I agree. But Anthony, don't you think that boils down to this can relate to anything in life, any kind of sales business? Because I get asked a lot of times about not just business, but just being successful. And there's I deal with so many successful people from every end of the spectrum, from, high level successful people financially. But I always tell people financials always doesn't mean success. The person that is passionate about, they could be a school teacher who I think are grossly underpaid. But let's say they're a school teacher and they love what they do. That is a successful person to me. They are teaching my kids, your kids, something, and that is success to them. So I never relate financials to success because I think if what you're saying, if you're passionate about anything, sometimes you can't beat the people away from you because you're going to draw them to you because they feel it. The same way if you're selling cars and you're passionate about that car. Like me, for instance, if I'm buying a car, I already know what I want. But if you got it and I feel that energy from the get-go, I'm buying it no matter what because I already want it. You're just helping. Absolutely. You're just helping me feel how I already felt before I got there, if that makes sense.
I always say sales is a transfer of energy, and whatever it is that you're selling, you have to believe that thing that you're selling, I don't care where it is the best thing since sliced bread. Because if you don't, it's going to come across, you just have a 9-to-5 job and there is no passion. Energy makes the sale. I don't know how better explain it. And sometimes if people aren't into what they're selling, it comes across and you're probably not going to be in that field for much too longer. Or let's say it's after work hours. I get calls at 10 o'clock at night. I've gotten calls on New Year's Day and Christmas, and I don't mind answering them because, first of all, I know what it's like to be in the gym business. And if they're calling me, something nuclear just went on. So I want to answer that phone.
It's detrimental if they're called.
Yes.
I know. And you know what? Even if you're on the phone for 1 minute, because you answered, they appreciate it so much.
Sure.
It goes a long way and you'll build a customer for life. If you don't call back for a week, they remember that too.
Oh, yes, 100%. But I mean, if you like what you're doing, it's not really work. So on the weekend, if somebody happens to call me, it's not like, I don't mind talking about it even after work hours because, I love, you love what you do. So you don't mind if that
very
person,
passionate about it.
Hopefully you don't call at 10 o'clock at night.
No, I know. I always tell people, they're like, how do you, we shipped out, I think 9 semi-loads of equipment last week. All different places, Jersey, Florida, West Coast, Texas. And I always tell people, they're like, how do you do it with, you don't have 50 employees? I'm like, first of all, I've got really good people. Some of them like my family. Secondly, if we got to stay here till 2 o'clock in the morning, that's what we'll do. My wife and kids will come here if we need to. And the reason I say that, yes, it's work. Yes, moving equipment can be backbreaking. But for me, sometimes to see the final product, and today, for instance, I was tagged a guy named Tony. They're opened in New Jersey. It's called Wolf Fitness. He's been sending me videos and stuff. His grand opening was Monday. They had 649 pre-signups before they opened the doors.
Awesome.
So we done everything for him, and I don't get to see the finished product till you send me photos, until I can physically go there. And I think he told me he done 30, give or take, yesterday of signups in-house on the grand opening. My point is, that's what I love to see. That's when it was all worth it, because it's like, wow, you just took a building that looked like shit and turned it beautiful, and all the equipment, it's just, that's when, to me, those long hours and everything is well worth it, because I think that's just where I'm so passionate about it. And this is for anybody. You got to find what you're passionate about. There's fitness, I think, is only going to grow. So if you're, or anyone is passionate about fitness, first thing I would do is get a desk job at the gym. You can learn so much working for a guy like me, or working for a guy like you, or learning the business. I told you, my dad's always been in the restaurant business, and I used to think I wanted to own a restaurant. And I started as the dishwasher, as the busboy. So I always tell people, if they said to me, hey, I want to own a restaurant, you got to know every square inch of that restaurant, because those type of laborers may not show up to work. So you got to be able to do it. So it's like, where would I start if I wanted to own a restaurant? I'm going to start in the back of the house and work my way up. That way I know every field. But some people don't want to suffer in order to learn. Knowledge is power. So you cannot put a price tag on learning. As you know, and I'm sure when you were in the gym business, you were like, Anthony, I'm still the toilet cleaner, the bathroom cleaner when I need to be. You know as well as I do, grown people will still dirty up your stuff. Even though we clean all day long, you know the deal. They bring mud in on the floors. So I'm very OCD with my equipment at my gym, my floors. If you came to my warehouse, I'm very OCD. Like, I like my floors clean and stuff like that. I'm still the guy out here sweeping my own floors. I don't have somebody. I don't think you should ever be too good to do anything in your business. I don't care how much money you got. If it needs to be done, you got to do it. And that's what makes successful. So anybody listening to this that wants to own a gym, is it doable? Absolutely. But you got to want to do it, and you got to have it in your head that failure's not an option. And this goes with anything in life, in my opinion. Failure should never be an option, because if you love it, it's worth sacrificing everything.
Sure.
I got married in 2015, and that's not something you play around with. So it's like, if I didn't want to be married, I'm not just going to go cheat on my wife. I'm going to tell her, hey, we're going to get a damn divorce, because it's not cool to just go do things. So it's like, in business is the same principle. If you spend all your money to open up that damn business, you need to know that failure is not an option, and I just think you've seen this, and social media has made it a big a problem, because a lot of Instagram and Facebook is smoke and mirrors. We portray our best photos and not our worst. We portray our good moments, but not our bad. You get what I'm saying? And as you know, no business is easy, especially the gym business.
I can have a whole podcast based on the horror stories of being at the gym, like all the little hairs on the floor in the bathroom, what those are. I had to put a sign up in the. Oh, it's not up here. It's the other. I know.
That's what I was about to kid.
Yeah.
Hey, we need to do a podcast. That would probably be a big one.
Yeah, I 100%. I'm down. It's like, for one time, just to start, like, my cleaning guy, who was also my friend, he's like, Anthony, someone's cutting their hair in here. I knew what it was, but I didn't want to say anything until he was done cleaning.
Yeah.
And then when he saw me put up a sign, I went on Google, and I searched like tree trimmer, and I found like a lumberjack on the tree, and I put, do not trim the tree in the bathroom, and I put it up on the wall, and he was like, he finally got what he was just cleaning up. He's like, son, he's like, you're doing that next time. But yeah, we can have a whole podcast just on horror stories of gym stories.
I could tell you so many stories, good and bad, about having to, kick people out of my gym, just calling them, basically not physically kicking them out, but basically telling them that I have to revoke their membership. It really is amazing what you have to deal with, or just etiquette into a gym. And so, but to go on a positive, or to say on a positive note, to see transformations or people change their lives in the gym, I always tell people my personal gym, it's a passion of love for me. It's never been about the money. I've never went up on my price in 15 years, Anthony. Like,
how is that possible?
Because as of now, my gym is not my main source of income. And so,
gotcha.
So I really do it more for the community, and I'm the locally owned but very, very nice gym in Burlington, North Carolina. And I'm very thankful to be able to have this. And it's my home away from home. And so when somebody comes into, and this should be any gym owner's philosophy, but if you come in and you're on 7 different medications and your blood pressure's high, your cholesterol's high, and you a year later are off all your medication and you've lost 20, 30, 40 pounds, and you not only look good, but feel good. And Anthony, especially in men, I notice men's confidence levels when they get older can really be down in the dumps. And you know what I'm saying? And
sure.
Maybe they've been through divorce, or their girlfriend left them, or just whatever. A lot of women, I feel like, start looking better, and men start looking worse. And it's, hey, we're both guys here. I'm just talking.
Sure. No doubt. Yeah.
And that is sad to me. So when I see somebody literally change their life, I've always just like, absolutely love nothing else to see that. They're paying me the same at my gym no matter what. So it shouldn't even matter. But that's, I feel like, what I do it for, and what a lot of us stay in the business for. Because as you know, unless you own a lot of gyms, no gym owner off one gym is going to get rich. Like, you can do very well. So I want to rephrase what I'm saying, but a lot of them are either scraping by or they could go work a normal job and make the same amount of money compared to the amount of hours and the crap you got to put up with. But at the end of the day, I feel like a lot of people do the gym business for passion, and they're just a fitness person. Sure. So, there's just so many. I mean, we could probably talk stories for days about different scenarios.
Yeah, no doubt. Look, a large portion of my customers have a regular job. You know, it's a large portion of them. And I'll say this, because I know it's been going on for a while, and I don't want Zoom to stop just abruptly. But towards the end, I mean, I usually leave off with a couple, like if you're a new gym owner or an old gym owner getting back into the business, just tips for success, and you could add some in there. But usually, like, why I have you on here, first one is pick your location, buy your equipment. Second, be clean to where you can eat off the floor, have pride in your location, and treat every customer just like if they're a member of your family. If you could do those little basics, I promise you'll be successful.
Agreed. 100% agree. I want to say this too. Anybody listening to this, as far as gym equipment, or maybe a person thinking about opening a gym and calling you for software. A lot of times I see a bad deal happen before you ever opened. And let me explain to you what I mean. So this has happened many times over the years. You've already got a new quote for equipment, and you realize real fast that $300,000 don't buy you a lot, or how much ever. But you've already signed your lease. Your lease is $18,000 a month.
Ooh.
And you're thinking that 2,000 people is just going to walk in the doors the first month.
That's the first thing I thought about. How many memberships do I need just for the lease?
Okay, there you go. And they come to a guy like me. We sit down exactly in my office where I'm at. And I'm asking them scenarios and questions. Hey, do you have a good deal on lease? What's your square footage? So I know what kind of equipment, kind of like we were talking about earlier. What is your budget? What do you think your clientele is going to be? I've got a scenario that it's nothing wrote down that I just know. And then they drop the bomb on me. Oh, yeah, I'm in a brand new building in the heart of town. My rent's 18 grand a month. They have set themselves up for failure before they ever bought equipment.
Yep.
And bottom line is, and I always tell people, if you bring in $50,000 this month, but your overhead is 65, you lost 15 grand. Yes. Period. It don't matter sometimes how much gross you bring in. It very much matters what your expense is. And some people have a great business, Anthony, and made wrong decisions and bad mistakes. And it's maybe they didn't have the guidance. Maybe they should have went one street over and the rent would have been a third of what it is. A lot of gyms are destinations. You know this.
Sure.
You don't necessarily have to be in the brand new building. If a CrossFit can open with no AC, no heat, with a roll-up door in the back of someone's warehouse, a gym can do very well one street over that's got cheaper rent. And so I always like to tell people at square root number one, negotiate a good lease term. Because if you don't, by the time you factor in insurance, light bill, another thing a lot of people don't think about is the cost of doing business. Meaning, if you're a 20 to 30 square foot gym, depending upon how much cardio you got, what kind of LED lights you got or not, your power bill could be $1,000 to $3,000 a month.
If not more.
If not more. Exactly. So I always tell people, I'm like, okay, did you factor in the power bill? And they're kind of like starstruck. They think their power bill is going to be $300-$400.
Yes.
I'm like, and it boggles me. And I'm sitting there like, or insurance, you know, as well as I do, you know, you got to factor all these things in. And so screw the equipment part. Do you have enough money to pay your bills every month if the members don't come? Because you don't know it first. And then the cost to acquire a customer. Are the old days, I'm sure you've done this. We done pizza box, flyers. I would go guerrilla marketing to Walmart.
Fish
everywhere.
bowls.
Absolutely, yeah. Putting flyers. I'd walk into the hair salon. Hi, my name is Steven. I own a gym down the road. I want to give y'all all free week passes. I wouldn't try to sell anything. I would just try to get them to come back to my gym. We don't really have to do things like that anymore because of the power of social media. But I feel like that touch and interaction, like we were talking about earlier, still goes a long way. You know as well as I do, when a man shakes your hand, like if I shake your hand and I say, Anthony, it's a done deal, I'm sending you equipment next Thursday. I can assure you, unless I'm dead, you're going to get that equipment because that's the type of person I am. And I think that goes a long way with where we don't get that interaction with social media. It's kind of like you were talking about the energy. Let's say me and you go to the Super Bowl and we feel the energy in the stadium. It's different watching it on TV. The TV may be a better picture or shot than our seats, but we don't feel it on the TV. And that's the difference. And so, you know, it's just one of them deals where I personally think that, like you said, go simple, stupid, go back to the basics, simple business, just talk, get a good deal, lease deal in place, own your rent, then come buy equipment smart, you know, and you will be successful.
Yes, 100%. And because you just said, a regular sales guy that the person bought a $19,000 lease and, you know, a regular sales guy is just thinking, how do I sell these dumb idiots gym equipment? And you're basically like, hey, have you thought of this? And I even, this is how I bring it down, because I feel bad about being honest to people that are like that, because I'll tell them, do you want me to talk to you like Anthony, not from Gym Insight, that gives you my thoughts on what you just said? Because I'm not somebody that wants to burst your bubble. I'm just going to tell you exactly what I've seen in the industry, and you could take from that. Where, because what you just said, you might have just saved someone their retirement savings that made that bad deal, and it's like, we didn't think this out. They may not have bought that gym equipment from you then, but when they do restructure, they for sure as crap are going to go back to you or recommend you to somebody else.
I couldn't tell you how many times that I've seen somebody come in, and let's say they're upper 50s, and this man's lifelong, he's sitting there with his wife, and he's cashed out his 401k and took a penalty and stuff. And let's say he's got $150,000. I've had many people on different dollar amounts say to me, Stephen, I can spend $100,000 on equipment. And I'm like, no, you can't.
No.
You got to paint the building. What about your flooring? Do you need to do handicap accessory bathrooms? These are all expensive things. I'm like, okay. And Anthony, they're just clueless on how to even start. You can't just walk in, usually you cannot just walk into a new building and open your doors. Sometimes you got to get architectural plans, engineering plan, mechanical plans. There's all kinds of steps. Every city, by the way, is different. So if anybody's watching this, I can't tell you where you live. Everything's a little different, but as well as I do, money is what you were saying at the very beginning of the podcast. A gym owner can be out a lot of money very fast. And it's one of them deals where I think a lot of people get in over their head. But at the end of the day, I think anything worth fighting for is if you're passionate about it.
Sure. 100%. Yeah, that's well said. I like you said, like what you just brought up, there's tons of little things that if I just went to a regular gym salesperson, they're not going to tell me. Like, for example, if someone overbuys equipment, because in some states it has to be handicap accessible, where it's spaced out a certain thing. And if you just go and buy gym equipment and now you shoved it all into your club to where they're side to side, and all of a sudden the inspector comes in and goes,
screwed.
This isn't handicap accessible. What do you mean? A wheelchair's got to fit through that. You're screwed. Now you just overbought equipment. What are you going to do? Put it in storage and now paying for something that's in storage? But
anybody who knows me usually will tell you, I'm going to tell you all the bad at first before I drop the good stuff on you. And then I'm not going to usually let you buy what you want. And I will tell you like this, the same way you say, well, do you want this out of Anthony or not? I'm going to say, look, are you buying this for you? Or are you buying this for your members? Because if only you is going to use this piece, you don't need it for your gym. Because it's the way I judge things, I would probably say 70% of the gym needs to use it or it's not worth having. You're not going to please everybody. So I'm not saying, it's going to be 100%. But at the end of the day, it's one of them deals that's very important. And then if I'm working with somebody on a budget, and certain pieces are very expensive, for instance, like Stairmasters. We know those are not cheap items. Even used, they're not cheap. So let's say the customer said, Stephen, I need 4 Stairmasters. I'm like, going to rationalize this. What makes you think you need 4? Like back in the day, if you remember, most gyms were lucky to have 1 or 2. And so it's kind of one of them deals and the reason I do this, I'm trying to get you to spend bare minimum. And what I preach to my people who buy from me, hey, Anthony, let's put 2 Stairmasters in. I pray you call me in 6 months and you're booming and you buy 2 more. But let's start out with 2 instead of starting out with 4, because maybe they won't use the other 2. We don't have any members at first. So it's not like you're starting with 2,000 people. Yes. And then as you know, 15 to 20% of the membership is going to use the gym.
Yes.
A lot of people have no clue. Half their gym may come one time a month. 2 times a month, they will not be there. Only them diehards, that 15 to 20%, will be there 4 to 5 days a week. And it's that guy that's there every day at the same time.
Yep. Same time, if not twice a day, some of them.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And that's why when people come, if they call me up, they're new gym owners and they're like, by the way, there's nothing wrong with powerlifting gyms. I think they're awesome. I think there's a need for them. Sure. But sometimes I'll ask them, are you opening this gym for yourself or trying to make money? Because there's two different things. Because you can make money with a powerlifting gym, but you better have experience as hell with running one, because it is 10 times harder. Whereas mom and pop gym, like you said, family friendly, it's for everybody. Whereas if you're this specialty, and it doesn't have to be powerlifting, I just brought that up. It could be any type of just specific type of gym.
No, I got you.
Yeah, it only represents. And I used a grocery store analogy where last time you went grocery shopping, how many powerlifters did you see in the gym, or what boxers or whatever it is in the gym, in the grocery store? Because that's who you're going to be doing business with. Do you want to do business with the rest of the store, or just maybe those 1 or 2 people that you saw? And some people I've had people hang up on me like, "What? This is ridiculous. I called you to ask." I'm like, look, how good does it feel when somebody is successful and calls you and like thanks you because you help them? Like, that's awesome. That's better than getting awesome bonus checks in any job I've ever had. That's
completely agree. I completely agree. That's the part of the business that I love, is when somebody calls me and says, "Man, so-and-so gave you my number or gave my number to me to call you, and they raved about you." Or that's the sincerest form of flattery I think that you can get, for the simple fact is referrals is awesome. And then somebody else that you didn't even know was speaking about you, was saying good things about you or praising you for what you had done for them. And I agree. I think that's a feeling that money can't buy, but people don't realize. And that's where only the true diehards that are passionate about what they do. I always tell people this. Anybody, and I hope people understand this when I say it, when anybody stops working for a paycheck and works for passion, you will be successful in whatever you do. And that's where I think that you have a lot of successful people and a lot of unsuccessful people. The unsuccessful people is the person at the gym like, "God, I'm at the counter. I can't believe somebody else walked in." I'm like, Anthony, back when I made commission, I prayed somebody walked in every 5 minutes.
Absolutely.
Like, are you kidding me? Like,
I would pray somebody just walked in because they got a flat tire and they need to use the phone. I don't care. By the time they're done talking to me, I'm probably going to sell them a membership or whatever it is.
Me too. And that's the thing in sales. And time passes so much faster when you got people in conversation. I think people just fail to miss the boat on life sometimes, or maybe they were brought up negative Nelly. Like, I'm one of them people at this point in my life that I like to be around somebody like yourself with positive energy. Like, when I'm around somebody like you, we could talk for hours.
You feed off of it.
Yep. If you're negative towards me, and I feel that negative sense, and if I say something, everything's bad, and I know you've been around somebody like that, I don't even want to talk to that person for 5 minutes. I don't even want to give them my time, for the simple fact is they will drain you. And successful people, you've heard this, want to hang out with successful people. So like, my friends are all different financials. I still have good friends that I grew up with that are not rich, but they're good people. And by the way, they're perfectly fine not being rich. They're successful in their own rights. That's why I always don't think financials mean shit in life if you're not happy. There's so many rich people that are not happy.
Yes.
But why is that? Why do people go kill themselves that have millions of dollars if they were happy? So that's where it goes to show you that success don't bring happiness, but our money don't bring happiness, as to say. But I always tell people at the same time, it's one of those things where I want to feed off positive energy. I wake up in the morning, I want to learn. I want to be around positive people. And it's not like I want to feel accomplished. That's a better word. I want to go to work. It doesn't matter if I sell one piece today or 100. I like to feel accomplished within myself. And even if that means talking to you and helping somebody on this podcast that don't even buy equipment from me, maybe we just told somebody something that they needed to know that helps them in the future, being like, wow, those are some things I didn't think about. I need to get a good deal on a lease. Or, wow, I wasn't thinking about the power bill. He's right. Like, I got to put all those things into play. I mean, it's super important.
Sure. Absolutely. Well, I mean, you're right. I mean, look, we've been talking now for, I was expecting, I know you're a busy guy, and I promised you it was only going to be a half an hour, but now we're almost going on through an hour and a half. So definitely, I think we should do a couple more of these. Maybe I'll get like a bunch of gym owners on at once, and then it could really go off the rails and have stories, or I'll get Kenny on the next one or something like that. But yeah,
we can
thank you so much for taking time out of your busy day. Or gym owner, and you sell gym equipment, so I couldn't imagine. You must have turned your phone off, because that must have blew up at least 10 times in the past hour.
I put it, it kept going off, and I didn't, whatchamacallit, it just went off one more time, and I don't know, but I put it off real quick. But yeah, I tried to make sure that I had nothing going on right at this moment, just to be safe, man. But no, I enjoy doing this, dude. I appreciate you having me on, and like, we can do this again whenever you want to. If me and you can help, people, anybody out there, I don't care if it's just one person, I definitely think it's worth doing.
Absolutely. Like, you may be saving someone's retirement money that somebody got talked to because they went to a franchise that they was sold the dream of be your own boss. And then maybe they didn't even go with that. And now they're looking at gym equipment and they don't know the first clue of what to do. I mean, I'm not telling them not to do it. Maybe they'll come across your path or someone like me, and they do have the passion. They just need the guidance to make them successful. Sure. But then you have those people that, oh, I was told that you could be your own boss, and people are going to walk through, plunk down a card, and it doesn't work like that, So
it does not, Anthony. And that's the thing. Smoke and mirrors. Like, so many people want to see the Instagram and the Facebook and the success stories. And you kind of got to look past all that. Don't get me wrong. There's some great people on both of social media, great people that are very transparent. And then you got the other people, I don't want to call them snakes, but I normally within 10 minutes can kind of get a feeling and see past somebody or see true intentions. I'll bring this up because I know you probably got to go. The very first time I called you was later at night, and we were on the phone forever. This was before I ever signed up. And we were driving to some gym, I can't remember. And long story short, I got off the phone, and the guy that was with me, you were on Bluetooth, and I'll never forget it. I looked at him and I said, that's who we're going with. We're going with them.
Awesome.
And he was like, why? And I was like, because whoever that was just gave me their time. And I was like, it blew my mind. There's so many well, back then there was not nearly as many, but as well as I do, call the 1-800 number and try to get somebody on the phone from the cable company, the electrical company. It blows my mind. I love being able to pick up the phone and call, or even just text back and forth a simple question.
Sure.
It's a nightmare. So to me, that went a long way for me. And so I like somebody being real. And the biggest thing I can tell anybody, if you can't do something, like if you're open a gym and you don't have a piece that you need, be transparent with the people.
Yes.
Just say, hey, I've got it on order. Or, hey, I'm saving up to buy this in 6 months. Be transparent. People love to see new stuff come into a gym. So as long as you're transparent with the people, it's no problem at all. They will understand. They will do another machine. But, so many people don't tell the truth. And like you said, sales guys are notorious. They want to sell that $500,000 gym package knowing the people are going to go out of business. And that makes me sick on my ass. Like, I don't like that at all. Because
knowing it's on back order and it may not come for 6 months and not telling them. I mean, like you said, be transparent and also managing expectations, because if you tell somebody, yeah, we can go with that package, but just so you know, it's going to be 6 months before you get it. Okay, the person's not going to be calling you up every other day. When's it coming? When's it coming? When's it coming? I'm sure you get those calls all the time because there's a grand opening date deadline. And listen, I've been in this industry for longer than 15 years, but actually not, besides software has been about 10. But you would think that we can write a book on how to open a gym to a specific deadline and have it down to a science. It's first of all, anyone listening, that is impossible, because you are at the mercy of subcontractors. And this subcontractor didn't want to show up. So now this subcontractor pushes them out 2 weeks. And that's just going to happen in this industry. It just happens. It's out of our hands. We can do our best. I will answer my phone every single time, but there's things that are going to be out of your control, especially on a grand opening date. So if you're watching this
with equipment, you have it set in your mind that you want this leg press, but your only choices are these other two. And they're literally almost like Ford Chevy. They're almost the same, but in your right side of your brain, you got to have the one you can't get. And I'm sitting here telling you, Anthony, this one's $1,000 cheaper and you can get it today. You need to go with it, because there is, when you're opening a gym, there is key essentials that you just got to have. And like certain pieces, you don't necessarily have to have that, but you know as well as I do, key pieces are key. So that's what's going on. So these sales guys right now, they'll deliver 30% of the equipment. The people still can't open their doors, and they've been paying rent for 3 months and have no equipment and not open. How do you pay the rent? You're screwed. So wow. I wish more people, and to the sales guy's defense, he may not truly know what's going on in the factories. I'm not blaming anybody. I'm not talking about any Pacific company, but this has been happening, Anthony, for a year straight. Gyms are opening, they bought brand new equipment, and they come to me last minute. They're getting a refund on their brand new equipment, and they're coming to me with days like, Steven, I paid 2 months rent already. I'm not open. I have no money in the bank. Can you help me? And I'm like, okay, fly in. You're not going to get what you ordered, obviously, because you ordered brand new, but I do feel like we can make it happen and make it look very good. Sure. And knock on wood, it's always worked out. But things are getting tough right now, especially by January, February. Equipment is going to be very dry because just the container shortage and everything going on. So,
wow. Well, I mean, that's just name it. I try, if it's a new person that was in that position, hopefully I get to talk to the person about 6 months before they open, because then I could go over what pre-sales is, how to do it. We got to get you started now, even if your equipment's not coming, because like, for example, I had a guy that he wanted to open in summer, and I got to talk to him end of winter. I was like, dude, you need to get started now. We're going to do pre-sales. He's like, well, on my grand opening, I'm like, think about this. On grand opening day, you're going to start with 0 customers the way you're going, or we can get started now, set up some pre-sales, and on grand opening day, your rent's already covered.
Agreed, 100%.
Absolutely. There's so many people that I talk to where they call me because it's the last month before they open, and I'm like, oh man, wish I talked to you. I'm like, yes, we can get you going, but this is it's going to look like. Sure. And I'm honest, even if it means it's costing a sale, because also I give my cell phone number out to these people.
I know you do.
I guarantee you any other company, they don't do that. After you get onboarded, it's now customer service only, that you never talk to that sales guy again.
Anthony, when I tell people, when you buy from me, you're getting the same thing. There's no 1-800 number, call Steven. And that's the thing. That's the difference, though. But most people, for the most, appreciate that, but you're invested is what you are.
Well, it may cost a sale, but again, I don't want it. Okay, I got the sale. It's intermediate. Yay, we got a new customer. But my phone rings every single day for the next month now, so it's not worth it.
No, it's not at all. Trust me. I get there, and I have fired some people as clients being like, hey, I love you. I hope you do. If you found it $50 for this piece is $3,000 and you're telling me you found it $50 cheaper in California, by all means, call them. Have you seen it? Have you seen the condition? Is it as good as my piece? I don't know, but I'm not going to be petty. Go buy it, because you get what you pay for. And you're right. Some people you can't please, but it's not even worth it if you're going to drive me insane.
Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely agreed. And I mean, that's a whole nother podcast in itself, where firing your clients, no joke. You have to, and sometimes fire your clients. Agreed. And it ends up costing more than what the client is paying, and not just money, but mentally sometimes.
I know. My wife will tell you, like I said, that's another whole podcast, but she's like, Steven, if this customer is stressing you out about one piece, never sell to them again. And typically, just so you know, the gym owners are not like that. It's the guy that wanted the elliptical on his third story of his house that should have bought it new and built it on the third story. Now we've shipped it to him. He don't know how to get it up. And it's my fault. Right. And I have nothing to do with it.
Right. Sure.
Another whole story.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on here. I had a blast. It's already been an hour and a half. Felt like 15 minutes.
I know.
But if you're a new owner and you definitely are looking at gym equipment, give Steven a call. He's not just going to help you with gym equipment. Just as the same, I'm not just going to help you with software. We will do everything in our power. We'll tell you. Just tell us what you're expecting, and we will do everything in our power to make sure or set you up for success.
Agreed. 100%. Anthony, I greatly appreciate you having me. And like I said, anything that y'all need or you want to do this again, just give me advance and I'll be glad to do it. Because I think me and you both like helping people and stuff like that. And I enjoyed talking to you. So this was fun.
Yeah, absolutely. The worst thing that gets me down in the dumps depressed is when people don't like me. Something happened, they're calling me up, they're pissed off. That is the worst. So I sort of go over and above for people to make sure they're happy. I
agree. I don't like that feeling at all, especially when you feel like no one is perfect. If we shipped out a product, anything could, like a cardio piece, for instance, a wire could go loose in the semi truck, Anthony. Sure. It's not necessarily my fault. I always stress to the customer, look, first of all, we're not perfect, but as a business owner, I would never send out a product not working correctly. So hopefully if they're somewhat within local, bring it back, we'll fix it. If they're far away, we don't offer warranty on let's say a used piece of treadmill, but we're still not going to leave you hanging. We're going to help you or whatever. And I think that's the difference, because you're right. I hate that feeling of somebody think I've done something wrong, and I wouldn't do that. So I'm not going to leave you hanging, but it also sucks when they're just mad at you and you didn't do a thing.
Yeah, it's just that feeling. I'm just that type of person where I like it when everyone's happy. I like to be positive, and when people are pissed off, even if I didn't do anything, they just call me pissed off. It gets me so down, man. I know.
Almost gives me anxiety, and I don't usually get anxiety. I know.
Absolutely. I almost don't want to answer the phone again because I'm like, what's going to go on, you know, but
Agreed.
I answer the phone all the time.
Yeah. Same here. Same here.
All right, Stephen, thank you so much again. And I will definitely, you know, we got to do it again sometime.
Anytime. You got my number. Just hit me up.
You got it. Talk to you
Thanks,
soon,
brother.
Stephen.
Bye.
Bye.